Well, good morning, good morning. It is too bright and honestly too damn early, but nonetheless we have places to be. And yeah, we are still here in beautiful, beautiful Sarajevo and feeling a little bit emotional to be leaving after 3 incredible days. But anyway, let me fill you in a second on what we're getting ready to do today. Alright, so the first thing that we have to do this morning is to get the tram or the streetcar, Straßenbahn, over to the central station. And I think the journey time is going to be less than 10 minutes because we're right here basically staying in the heart of the old town, and Sarajevo is not that big of a city. But anyway, yeah, the streetcars, super interesting. You know, the tram system here goes back to the year 1885. And back in 1885, when they were first rolled out, well, they were pulled by horses. Speaking of which... Right, I have a ticket somewhere that I need to stamp to validate. Oh, well, it's not the way that it works apparently. Well, as I was saying before, I was very rudely interrupted by our tram arriving on time. Goddamn. Well, basically, Sarajevo had a tram system going back to the year 1885. Now, 10 years later, in 1895, it became fully electrified, and sometimes it's said that Sarajevo has the oldest tram system in all of Europe. I've heard that actually disputed, so I don't want to tell you that's definitively true, but nonetheless, it's been around for a long time. What is true is that Sarajevo actually had a tram system before Vienna, for example, which was quite something considering that Vienna was, of course, you could say the most prominent city in the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and Sarajevo was also within the borders of that empire at the time. So, yeah, maybe a staging ground for things to come across the empire later. Alright, so just a few blocks away from the central train station, and I figured it's time to let you know what we're doing today. So we are getting ready to head down to Mostar. Mostar is a city in the Herzegovina region, or part of this country. And yeah, I mean, Mostar is 2 hours away. I booked the ticket online a few weeks ago, and it costs 14 convertible marks, which is about €7 more or less. And that's pretty incredible because it is supposed to be one of the most scenic train journeys in all of Europe. I've heard some people say the whole world, but that is definitely a point of contention. But anyway, so I booked the ticket. Unfortunately, when you book the ticket, you just get a confirmation number, and it doesn't even have the date on it. So me being me, basically as soon as I booked it, I was thinking, shit, did I even book the right day? So I came to the train station yesterday to pick up the ticket. That was a pretty interesting process because the first thing that I did is I went up to the ticket counter window and I was like, I have the train to Mosul tomorrow. And she's like, Mosul? I was like, oh, no, not Mosul, sorry, Mostar. So anyway, we got that sorted. But then basically she looked through a long list, like I'm talking handwritten. It had every customer who has a departure today written down, and then a separate, like, basically stash of tickets, also everything written out by hand. I'll show you the ticket itself in just a little bit. But yeah, super interesting, very retro. Well, let's head in and see what the station looks like. Well, I was here yesterday, so actually I already know what it looks like. But for all of you out there, if you've never been to Sarajevo, you should actually have a look. Very retro, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. Well, I was hoping this station would have a Marxist mosaic or two, you know, a nice socialist mural, but instead we have Coca-Cola representing here, which, to be honest, would have been here probably also during the socialist period because Yugoslavia had access to all of those Western products. And yeah, here's the ticket for today's journey, the 2-hour train to Mostar. Actually 14 marks and 10 pfennig, so I misspoke. And yeah, the ticket itself is not written by hand, but it was attached to another piece of paper that was, in addition to that roster of names. Did you know that in Serbo-Croat Bosnian, the top word is how you say Germany? I'm not going to attempt to actually pronounce that. Well, let's see what warning we have here. Just take care of your shit, basically. Wow. Well, this is not our ride over to Mostar, but I wish it was. Well, I think this might already be our train to Mostar this morning. Oh, getting excited. Alright, well, let's check out the train before it gets too jam-packed, but so far so good. Maybe it's not going to be full? Nah, it probably will be. Oh man, very excited to be on board this morning and haven't had any caffeine yet, and to be honest, I don't really think I need it. I think I got that adrenaline this morning. By the way, check out the sheer amount of legroom over here, and yes, I did make sure that I'm actually in second class. I don't want that debacle happening like it did in Serbia. Well, welcome to Mostar, and the big question is, did that journey disappoint? Well, I think you can tell from the visuals the answer is absolutely not. However, if you would have asked me that question halfway through the journey, I would have had a different impression or opinion. And that's because, well, there were too many tunnels. Every time that I would take my camera out and start filming, it was like, oh, there's another tunnel. So initially very, very frustrating, but as we were getting closer and closer to Mostar, the scenery just absolutely breathtaking. So yeah, anyway, if you come to the Balkans, this is definitely the train. That being said, we're here in Mostar. Let's go check it out. And here's the main attraction, the old bridge. In fact, it's what Mostar is named for. Man, and here I was thinking that Sarajevo was the most picturesque place in the world. And I stand by that comment in a general sense about it being one of my top cities. But Mostar is gorgeous. And it is very small. The thing is, a lot of people will take day trips here from Sarajevo or places like Dubrovnik in Croatia. It's actually not that far away at all. And I can see why it's a proper day trip location. Because, yeah, I mean, you could walk around probably the whole city in 2 or 3 hours. Come here, have a nice meal, get a little tour, and then basically pick up and, you know, go to your next location. But in terms of what we're doing, we're going to basically stay here overnight, and then tomorrow it's back home.